with how you dispose waste products. The environment will be better looking without litter and exposed garbage. We love our city clean. This message is from 92.3 Nigeria Info.
What we do goes beyond bringing you the news. We give you a chance to talk about it. Your opinion, your voice.
This is 92.3 Nigeria Info, Port Harcourt.
Your number one news, talk, and sports radio station.
Reggae music have a philosophy, you know. It's not just entertainment.
Love and hate can never be friends, oh no.
There's an idea behind it, a way of life behind the music, a positive way, a progressive way. No two ways about it, you know. Reggae music make you feel good. Reggae music make you feel irate.
Come sing for them, baby.
That song they hot, daddy. All night, you juggling hot. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Coming soon to Nigeria Info.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Irate Jam Down.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Our freedom depends on our proactive responsibilities.
Let's talk, act, and be about development.
With one voice, our potential is realized. This is your number one news, talk, and sports radio station. 92.3 Nigeria Info.
I am listening.
We connect you to the world. We connect you to the vicinity. We are Nigeria Info.
Listen to me, I said this is a real situation and the government has to do something about it. What are you trying to insinuate? All these people looting Nigeria's money? You think
This is Nigeria Info, in the heart of Nigeria. 92.3. We are Nigeria Info.
To thrive in a fast-changing world.
Tune in to 92.3 Nigeria Info for the best of news, talk, and sports 24/7.
News, 6 a.m.
Your Excellency, I have been asked to summon you to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Our position has always been very clear. The forthcoming election is sensitive and decisive.
News, 12 noon.
The abandoned project by the former administration, it's a problem.
I have spoken with my people. We all agree that from today there shall be no vandalization.
News, 6 p.m.
Do not sell assets to consume. If there is need for it, to sell assets, to invest, to use to create wealth.
Tune in to our major bulletins at 6 a.m., 12 noon, and 6 p.m.
6 a.m., 12 noon, and 6 p.m.
And our updates every hour on the hour on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
And now, Hard Facts.
Hard Facts
with Dio.
Hello, good afternoon to you, and welcome to Hard Facts 92.3 Nigeria Info and here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dio. 15 minutes gone past 3 p.m. You're welcome to today's edition of the show. It's a Thursday edition, and from now till about 7 o'clock, we keep the conversation going. Some matters on the agenda today. You're welcome for joining in once again. Let's see. I hope you've had a fine day thus far, in spite of the rains and all of that. And by the way, I hope that the authorities have done something. There was an accident around Eliozu on the East-West Road. I was out this morning. Had to go to one of the places I really don't like to go to very much. Two places I really do not like to go to. I could almost use the word hate actually, but I'm already right now. So I do not like to go to hospitals, and I very much despise going to banks as well. But for some reason, I couldn't do much about it. I had to. I've postponed this for a couple of years actually, so I had to go to the bank today. And on the way back, I had to come through the Eliozu area, or through the East-West Road via Eliozu, and some trailer had fallen across the road, a huge trailer actually. So I hope the authorities have done something about it, or will do something about it as soon as possible, to prevent the inevitable traffic gridlock, which will make life miserable for a lot of people, no doubt, and inevitably waste a lot of very valuable man hours. I hope something has been done about that situation. Welcome once again. As I mentioned a while ago, from now till about 7 o'clock, we've got several matters we're going to be considering as usual, and you're very welcome to join the conversation as well. I've got I've got side comments coming up in a moment, random stories, random sorts. I'd like to get your take on that much later on, not now, because side comments are not up for discussion at this time. But after the major news at 6 p.m., during the open season segment, I don't mind taking your thoughts on the side comments and any of the other matters discussed on the show as well. Till about 7 o'clock when the show comes to an end. Now, after the side comments, I do have a round coming up, something in my mind. I'm expressing some thoughts on it, and you're welcome to express your thoughts and mine all the way till 4 p.m. Now, before we've got the business news coming up, and after that we'll delve into some other matters up for discussion on the shows. Speaking of which, other matters that come up after the news at 4 o'clock. Nigeria's e-naira and the future of digital currency in the country. We'll talk about that. You know, plenty. You've heard about it. I'm sure you've heard about it. The e-naira. You probably read a newspaper article on it, or you saw something online, or you heard it on Nigeria Info, or you saw it on the news, or heard it on the news, as the case may be, or maybe your friends or colleagues at work were talking about it, and you're wondering what the heck is the e-naira? What exactly is it? How is it different from the conventional naira? How is it different from other digital currencies, vis-a-vis cryptocurrencies and other digital currencies for that matter? And why does it appear we're having some issues with it at the moment? You may have heard as well that the Nigerian e-naira app has been thrown off Google Play Store. You're supposed to download the app over there if you intend to make use of the e-naira, But we'll discuss all of everything that concerns the e-naira in the 4 o'clock hour. I did mention about a week or so ago that the conversation was going to come up at some point, but just waiting for a good time to do so, and I think now might be a good time to do so. Also, I was kind of looking out for the perfect person to have the conversation with, and I suppose very strongly that I have. So I'll be speaking with Michael Ogba, his CEO, MD, Citiamo Technology Limited. He joined me for that conversation from Lagos. To stay tuned for that once again in the 4 o'clock hour after the business news. Taking us to 5 at 5, we've got the news update coming up, and after that, INEC can transmit Anambra election results electronically, the National Assembly saying so. You can find that story in the Punch newspaper. Now, some details of it. The Senate has given INEC the go-ahead to transmit the November 6th Anambra State governorship election results electronically. Chairman of the Senate, INEC Committee on INEC, Kabiru Ghana, disclosed this on Wednesday. And he spoke with journalists after a meeting between the INEC chair, Mahmoud Yakubu, and the Joint National Assembly Committee on INEC and electoral matters on the Anambra election. The senator explained that the electoral umpire could transmit the results to its server as they are announced at polling units, just like what it did during the Edo and Ondo State governorship elections. Now, a few talking points here. Now, should the National Assembly, based on the amendments to the Electoral Act, INEC can do what it wants as far as elections concerned, including electronically transmit results. I remember that there was some contention vis-a-vis the earlier amendment, which is that INEC requires the permission of the National Assembly based on advice from the NCC to do so. But on current amendments, INEC no longer requires the permission or the go-ahead of the National Assembly. So, why is the National Assembly's Committee on INEC and Electoral Matters giving INEC the go-ahead to transmit results electronically in the Anambra State governorship election? I think sometime November 6th or thereabouts is when that election is coming up. As on one hand. On the other hand, even though there's been an amendment to the Electoral Act giving INEC the permission to go ahead and conduct the elections in the manner it so desires, including implementing or utilizing electronic transmission of results. Has the president assented to this? And I think not. And if the president has not assented to it and it's not law yet, can INEC go ahead to do so? So we'll look at these matters in the 5 o'clock hour. I'll be having Barrister Richard Wokocha join me for that conversation after the news update till about 6 o'clock. Headlines 5:30, mega news at 6, open season afterwards till about 7. And pretty much that's the show today. But maybe some side comments right now, random stories, random thoughts that caught my attention from the news earlier on today. Let's see, let's check out some of those stories. A reminder that these are not to be discussed at this time. Now let's start with this. Governor Yesemeke says the federal government must stop using security agencies to intimidate and influence judges if it truly believes in the independence of the judiciary. Governor Wike said this at the 61st annual conference of the NBA in Port Harcourt. He accused the federal government of using the issue of financial autonomy to get favor from the judiciary after years of obvious frosty relationship between them. Let's hear what His Excellency had to say about that matter. EM335. Okay, I think here we are.
Ask Mr. President of the country, why is the federal court, the judicial nationally, why are they not autonomous? Why? Autonomy is not only giving money. Autonomy is also allow them to do what they are supposed to do without you intimidating them. Autonomy is not give money. Autonomy is stop using the security agencies to influence them on what they could do. We have restricted autonomy to mean where you can award contracts. No, that's not autonomy alone. Allow them to perform. Allow them to work according to how they feel, what the law is supposed to be.
Okay, Your Excellency, that's a very good point. That's a very, very good point. You're saying that autonomy of the judiciary is not just financial autonomy only. The federal government should let them work. The federal government should not intimidate members of the judiciary, judges, or justices of the Supreme Court. And Your Excellency is right, sir. Your Excellency is very right. The federal government should not use any of its agencies to intimidate the judiciary. And if that's been going on, or if that's happened, it's highly condemnable. It must never happen. It should not happen. We should have a system that's truly independent. However, Your Excellency, it doesn't mean that if members of the judiciary have questions to answer, they shouldn't answer those questions. If there are allegations of impropriety on the part of any judicial officer, whether a judge or whoever else, that person must answer, and they have no immunity. If agents of government, EFCC, ICPC, the police, whoever it is, seek to investigate a judge, for example, they can go ahead and do that. And if that judge has questions to answer, that person must answer those questions. And by the way, once again, very important to know, the federal government should not, must not, shall not intimidate any judicial officer for its own benefit. Shouldn't do that. But Your Excellency also identified, by the way, that autonomy for the judiciary is not financial only. That means that Your Excellency identifies that financial autonomy is also important. So, Your Excellency, you can't say that because you suspect the federal government is doing something wrong, so you as well will continue in doing something that's wrong. That's not right, Your Excellency, because once again, two wrongs do not make a right. And Your Excellency, you constantly announce to the whole world, to anybody else who cares to listen, that you are all to, for the judiciary, to improve the workings of the judiciary, to help the judiciary do its work and all of that. So, If that is your true intention, Your Excellency, and your all that you've been doing so far, and your comments on the subject matter are truly altruistic, and you've got no hidden or ulterior motives, then grants let the judiciary have its way, even financially as well. I mean, or Your Excellency can show the federal government an example of what it means to have a truly independent judiciary. So let's assume federal government is getting it wrong. You can show us, Your Excellency, what the right thing is to do. Because let's assume you're right, Your Excellency, and the federal government is using security agents to intimidate the judiciary. How do we describe what you're doing, Your Excellency, when judges line up and we hand over car keys to them? When we announce that we have given judges, we have built houses for them. His Excellency has given them houses. His Excellency has given them cars. His Excellency is giving them 150 million in lieu of houses. What do we describe that as? Is that heavenly as well? Just asking questions, sir. Just asking. All right, just asking. So once again, Your Excellency, if the federal government is getting it wrong, you can show them how to do it. You can show them by not buying houses or building houses for them. Let them build their houses for themselves. By not buying cars for them, they can buy cars on their own. I'm sure, even though judges are very private people, they know where cars are being sold, or at least they will have admin staff who know where cars are being sold and who know what cars they need, and they can purchase these cars on their own without His Excellency having to hand over the keys to them, and they have to express how thankful they are to His Excellency for buying them cars. Now, of the proposed plan to pardon the late Ogoni leader Ken Saro-Wiwa and 8 others who were killed by the then military government. President of Mossop, Prince Bira, made this known during an interview with newsmen shortly after the Mossop Steering Committee met to review the visit of some Ogoni leaders to President Buhari last week. I'll tell you what Mossop had to say on this development. Just a moment. 80-30. All right, here we are.
The committee contends that their deaths were consequent upon an executive decisions of the then military government for a crime they did not commit. The haste with which the executions was carried out, even when the period of clemency has not elapsed, and pleas from the international community ignored, express the bias of the then military government against our compatriots. Therefore, the best of any civil government will do in this case is to clear their names by declaring them innocent and abolish the death penalty as practiced in all civilized countries. The haste with which the executions was carried out, even when the period of clemency has not elapsed, and pleas from the international community ignored, express the bias of the then military government against our compatriots. Therefore, the best of any civil government will do in this case is to clear their names by declaring them innocent.
But that's the problem, Mossop, and every other Ogoni group that's asking for this. The government cannot do that. And this is a matter of law. It's not just sentiment or emotions. The federal government cannot do that. The president cannot unilaterally sit in Aso Villa or anywhere and reverse a judicial process. It doesn't work that way.
And abolish the death penalty as practiced in all civilized countries of the world.
No, that's not. As a matter of fact, that's not how it's practiced in all civilized countries of the world. And I had Henry Akinde in the studio a couple of days ago. He's a lawyer. He's also national legal advisor for the Committee for the Defense of Human Rights. The president cannot just reverse, a judicial process. And it doesn't matter that that judicial process may be widely seen as skewed or wrong or flawed. And it doesn't matter that it wasn't executed or during a democratic era, that it was a military tribunal. It doesn't matter. The president cannot do that. The only instrument available to the president is to grant a pardon. And what a pardon does is, it states that that person cannot be said to have committed that crime, whatever the crime was alleged to have been. Anything that associates that person to that crime is completely erased. It's where as if that person never committed that crime that was alleged to have been committed. That's the best the president can do. Well, maybe the president can also apologize, but that's a moral sin if he decides to do so. And it may not be a bad idea if he does so. But if you, on a scale, if you were to weigh both a pardon, a state pardon or an apology, obviously a state pardon outweighs an apology. Yes, an apology won't be bad as well if the president decides to do that or the state decides to do that. But a state pardon is very much, the proper thing to do as well. Because the president, once again, cannot reverse a judicial process. Unilaterally, he can't do that. The only process that can do that is another judicial process. So if there is still a window for appeal, of course the families of the Ogoni 9 can do that, go to the court, appeal, and then possibly at the appeal or Supreme Court, the judgment delivered can be reversed. But the federal government cannot be the one to institute that process either. It also raises many questions then as to why we're going on and on about this. It almost appears that, and I say this with the utmost respect for the memories of the Ogoni 9 and their families, it almost appears that nothing that can be done can satisfy us. It's almost like we don't want, it's almost like we're trying to milk the memories of the Ogoni 9 to get as much as we can get. So we don't want any closure on this matter. Let's not let it be laid to rest somewhat, because if we get a pardon, if the state pardons the Ogoni 9, that amounts to some kind of a closure. So we don't want closure. We want this to keep on for as long as possible, so we can keep on milking this situation for as long as we can. So for me, the question arises, what really is our motivation here? What really is the motivation? What? And I think these are very important questions that need to be answered. What is our motivation, really? There are many matters concerning Ogoni land that need to be addressed, no doubt about that. And pardoning the Ogoni 9 would not simply lay to rest all of those issues. No, it's not going to do that. But as far as the rejection of the proposed state pardon for the Ogoni 9, the question for me once again is, what is our motivation, really? What is wrong with the state pardon? Because once again, as far as the law is concerned, that's all the president can do, nothing more. A couple of the matters that caught my attention today. A 51-year-old woman identified as Gladys Napoleon has admitted killing her husband, Mr. Napoleon. She's a Madi British known after she was arrested and paraded yesterday at State Criminal Investigation Department, SCID of the River State Police Command. The spokesman of the River State Police Command, Inamdi Moni, told journalists Mrs. Amadi, who is from a Che local government area, killed her husband with a machete during a fight. Let's hear what Inamdi Moni had to say about this situation. 8026. Alright, here we are.
There was a case of murder of one Napoleon Amadi at Umebu. The local police immediately swung into action and did your preliminary investigation. However, your investigation compass led to the arrest of the wife of the man and others. After engaging in an intense interrogation, she opened up, said that she was the one that actually killed the husband, and that she quarreled with the man that particular evening. And the man also brought this knife to cut her, but she was able to get the knife from the man, kill her husband with this knife. That she gave him several machete cuts on his forehead, which led to his death.
How did the police determine that this is a case of murder? And how many times do we have to tell the police that it's illegal to parade people the way that the police constantly do? It's illegal to do so. How does this help this woman's case? No doubt, something happened. This woman's actions may have led to the man's death, even directly. But then again, how does parading her? She has a right to defense. She is innocent until proven guilty in court. Because the woman had this to say. She said that she killed her husband in self-defense. And she narrated the argument that led to the death of her husband. Here's what she said.
On that Thursday night, after my husband go out and then enter, then when he enter, he was telling me about the letter they wrote for him that he will soon die. And he went to meet him. I said, Gladys, that today my cup has full. That today he's going to use my 2 children for ritual. That he will use them for ritual. And after using them, he will use me too for ritual. I said, Che, Daddy, what have I done? Look at what is on ground. He said, for God who made me and him, that he's going to slaughter me this night. He has been telling me, I think he is joking.
So this woman, I don't know if that's what happened. This woman claims self-defense. Now, she has a case. She can go to court. Obviously, she'll be tried. She'll put up a defense and all of that. Why is the police parading this woman? What is the essence? How does this help their investigation? How does parading the woman help their case? How? In what way? The answer is an obvious no. It doesn't help the investigation. It doesn't help them prove their case of murder. It doesn't help them in any way. And it doesn't help the woman's defense at all in any way. So what is the essence of this illegality on the part of the Nigeria Police Force, Rivers State Command? Why parade this woman? To what purpose? To what end? So many things caught my attention today on the news, but I have to wrap up the side comments right now. I must really. I have to move on to some other, to today's rant. I feel like I'm ranting already, actually. I mean, the situation with the school in Orestar School in Umba in a Che local government area, 4 years, no academic activities going on over there. Maybe I'll talk about that tomorrow. I hope I remember really, because so many things going wrong, actually. But to wrap up today's side comments, a reminder to His Excellency the Governor. What's going on with Joe Blankson's family, his widow and young children? Have we redeemed the promise to give the wife a job and I think the trust fund or education fund for the children? Your Excellency, let's do that as well. Let's do that, very important. Also, what's going on with cassava, the multi-billion cassava processing limited, Shell built in partnership with the River State government? What's going on with that? There was a fantastic launch, a well-publicized launch of that, but months afterwards, what's going on? What's going on with that situation? Why it's not functional now? Maybe I'll talk more on that in the coming days. But Your Excellency, we need the answers to this as well. So that's it for today's side comments. I go on a break. When I return, today's round comes up. Please stay with us.
What we do goes beyond bringing you the news. We give you a chance to talk about it. Your opinion, your voice.
This is 92.3 Nigeria in Port Harcourt.
Your number one news, talk, and sports radio station.
We give the facts.
News entirely.
We give the evidence. Just to keep you informed.
News, weather. I get my information top of the hour every hour.
92.3 Nigeria Info. And now, hard facts.
Hard facts with Dio.
Welcome back. I still had Factor 90.3 Nigeria Info and here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dio. We got about 19 to go before 4 p.m. I'd like to run to just a bit. Got something in my mind, expressing some thoughts in it. You're welcome to express your thoughts in mine all the way till 4 p.m. The general elections are coming. 2023 is around the corner. And I've been saying this for some time, even yesterday as well. Nigerians should do one thing different. If there's only one thing we do different this time around, as the general elections are coming in 2023, we must listen carefully and listen attentively, pay close attention to what the politicians are saying, to what the honorables and the excellencies are saying, and think critically on these things. Think critically on these things. Enough with the shenanigans. On the show yesterday, someone sent a WhatsApp message. I couldn't read it. I saw it quite late actually, saying that I think he or she saw an Anambra State governorship election candidate carrying babies already. It's inevitable. They have only one modus operandi. They have only one style, one approach. They don't know how to do it different. As the elections are coming closer, they're going to be carrying naked babies in rural areas. They're going to be frying akara along the streets. They're going to be stopping their convoys to buy bole, and they will buy the whole bole that the woman is selling for a humongously ridiculous amount of money. They're going to go to the market to buy fish and ugu with their wives. They're going to start visiting churches and lying flat, lying prostrate on altars in churches. They don't know how to do it different. And there's going to be a lot of incoherent babblings at the campaign grounds, saying absolute nothingness. You're going to have campaigns that go on for hours. One artist is going to be, or a DJ or a live band is going to be dishing out hits. Every track is a hit back to back, and people are going to be dancing away their futures. And even when the honorable comes to pick up the mic, he's just shouting incoherent babblings and insulting people. No policy, no strategy, no framework, no blueprint, nothing. Absolute nothingness. And I believe that nothingness is what Femi Adesina is speaking to. Pardon me, Akinwumi Adesina, not Femi. Akinwumi Adesina is speaking to in this story in the cable. Akinwumi Adesina, no business can survive in Nigeria without generators. It's abnormal. Here's the story. Akinwumi Adesina, president of the African Development Bank, says the lack of reliable power supply is affecting the growth of industries in Nigeria. Adesina said this on Tuesday while speaking at the 49th annual general meeting of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria in Abuja. Now, quoting a report by the International Monetary Fund, Adesina said the country loses $29 billion annually, which is about 5.8% of its gross domestic product, due to a lack of reliable power supply. How can we have successive governments that don't care that we are losing $29 billion annually because we do not have reliable power supply? He also added that Nigerians spend $14 billion yearly on generators and fuel. How can our successive governments be comfortable with Nigerians spending $14 billion on generators and fuel only? How can our industries grow? How can we create jobs when we're spending $14 billion on generators and fuel annually? Today, he said, quote, "Today, no business can survive in Nigeria without generators. Consequently, the abnormal has become normal. Traveling on a road one day in Lagos, I saw an advertisement on a billboard which caught my attention. It was advertising generators with a bold statement, 'We are the nation's #1 reliable power supplier.'" Remarkable stuff. Abnormal stuff, but these abnormalities have become the norm, have become what's normal in Nigeria. And we have National Assembly always screaming their eyes of it. We have honorables and excellencies always talking about how the fantastic stuff that they are doing, the great things they are doing to transform the lives of Nigerians. And now they have budgeted this and they have set up a committee to do that and panel to oversee the following as well. Adesina said the manufacturing sector in Nigeria is faced with numerous challenges. Chief among them is power supply. Quote, "To be a manufacturer in Nigeria is not an easy business. You succeed not because of the ease of doing business, but by surmounting several constraints that limit industrial manufacturing. Today, the major challenge facing Nigeria's manufacturing is the very high cost and unreliability of electricity supplies. Load shedding and the inconsistent availability of power have resulted in high and uncompetitive manufacturing costs." It's a terrible situation. It simply is not working. Noting that Nigeria focuses on the model of import substitution, he lamented that the manufacturing sector represents only 3% of total revenue from exports, but accounts for 50% of imports. He advised the country to create wealth through a greater export market and value diversification. And this can happen if we effectively tackle energy deficiency in the country. We need to do that. These are the questions we need to be asking. Why haven't we done it? When generators manufacturers are advertising themselves as the #1 reliable power supply, whatever, in the country. It's not normal. It's abnormal. These are the issues. We can't create jobs. The naira will never become stable, will never become stronger because we manufacture nothing. We're importing everything. It's not normal. It's abnormal. These are the issues. Not, you know, I'm not even in the mood today, really. Not even in the mood for that today. Let's ask the right questions. Let's pay attention. Let's listen critically and not just dance away our lives while we're wearing t-shirts and face caps. On that note, I end my rant. Thanks for listening. I hope you on board. The lines are open. Call 0817 93 0002 or 0003 0817 93 0007. We're live on facebook.com/Nigerian for PH. WhatsApp is on 0809 030 6416. Keep it brief and straight to the point. Once the call is answered, please turn down the volume of your radio set as well. It's very important to do so. And I hope my call screener is going to mention that to the callers as well. But let's get your take on my rant for the moment. I think I might be starting off with comments via WhatsApp and Facebook, or Facebook mostly, I suppose. Let's see. Before I get to the phone lines. Alright. Okay, I'm there. Steve Ovia goes. The cost of running and maintenance of generators is killing small-scale businesses. Onyeshe Jofo goes. Akinwumi Adesina hit the nail on the head because with steady power, you can easily create a job for yourself in your bedroom. But failed states like Nigeria denies its citizens such opportunities because of corruption. I've got a Lawson from Abba Road on the line. Hello, Lawson. You're welcome. Please go on.
Hello, Mr. Dayo. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon.
You're welcome.
Okay. Let me take on the issue for the one Adesina talked on. If you don't have generator, you can't go into manufacturing or you can't go into real business in Nigeria. Yes, I remember before the 2015 elections, 92.3 Nigerian Eco, you people ran a program where you were estimating how much diesel you were spending for a day. And then at that time, some persons were looking at it that, look, it's not too good. Maybe it's like it's favoring a particular side of the divide for the elections. So what I want to say is that at the cost then and now, has there been any change? What we campaigned for or what they sought for to change, the government that the Nigerians voted for, that is in power now, what have they done? Or what are they putting in place for things to change? Is there any difference? This is it. So I think it's not really to generalize it, but it's to critically ask the government. Perhaps your station can do another one again. How much are you people spending between now and 2015? Or from your journalism angle, is there any difference? Is it on the part of the citizen or the government is not doing anything?
We'll probably do that. Take a look at that situation. Destiny from Roma Limini, welcome. Go on.
Adedayo, good evening.
Hello, go on.
Adedayo, I think Adesina just hit the nail on his head. Telling us what we are really facing as a nation. How can a small-scale industry survive in the situation we find ourselves? The epileptics are supply. Not even being epileptic. Sometimes we don't even see it. I don't know how businessmen can survive or can thrive in this situation we find ourselves. I think Adesina is right with this, what he just said. And the governments of this country don't really see it as an issue to them, those who find themselves in the corridor of power. That this nation has to grow. We cry upon employment every day, and it's as if they don't hear about it. They do here. I think they had Adesina when he was making those comments. Will they do anything about it?
That's the question.
For me, I think nothing they will do. I don't know what they gained from keeping this country in a way, the situation we'll find ourselves. Anyway, that's just my comment this evening. Thank you.
You're welcome. Tony from GRA, hi, go ahead.
Yes, it's, by now, I want to believe that Nigerians are aware now to their bones that our political leaders are not there to do our bidding. They're not there to satisfy us. They're not there for our best interest. And I think 2023 will indicate that in every government is a business of sorts. And in every business, you prioritize your expenses. You work with maybe a board of directors of managers and they advise you according to their specialty. I want to ask our leaders who advised them that Nigeria should remain as it is, fertilizer generator over having our own reliable power supply, where we are losing so much, humongous, ridiculously shameful amounts being wasted. And I tell you that Nigeria will make more money, more profit, we're better off if we have efficient, reliable, affordable, accessible, abundant power, let the power supply.
Absolutely.
And all the leaders, from the president to the governors, all of them, I respect them, but they don't command my respect. I respect them as individuals. So let them know by those that have insulted them. But sir, the honorables, I don't respect you for this stance that you have kept Nigeria, this decision that you have taken to keep us, all of them, from independence to date. And you know, it's not rocket science.
No, it's not.
There are multiple sources of power today. Smaller countries, let's take Dubai, 3-point-something million, have constant power supply. If I am a leader, I will go there and ask the leader there, Oga, how you take they get constant power? Our president travels out for best medical cure. He has not sat down with the president of Britain to say, Oga, how you take get constant power? Please come to my country.
I think he went to Saudi Arabia right now.
10,000 because now this PhD gives us unreliable power. They are more than that. Let anybody multiply it times 200 million or even 150 million. How much is it? You will create jobs. What is the Obasanjo has shown us the blueprint through the power, what they call it, telecom sector. The moment he broke the telecom sector, look at
Tony, you have to wrap it up now.
Telecom have created jobs, created revenues. MTN is making trillions annually.
Great to hear from you, Tony. I've got Damien from Igrut on the line. Damien, you're welcome. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Dayo.
Damien, hi. You're welcome. Go
on. It is indeed a shame for Nigeria to be in this state of blackouts. Like he earlier made mention of the governor identifying the wrongdoings of the president. It is the responsibility of states to give power to their citizens. If the state government could use the money used in building flyovers, if he could divert those monies into powers, I believe the states here would have a power, if not for 24 hours, but at least for 12 hours of the day.
What's wrong with 24 hours?
And it could go
Damien, what's wrong with 24 hours?
The 24 hours to me is much, but at least the 12 hours.
We have private communities within River State that have their own private power generating sources, and they have power for 24 hours, and they even supply to communities outside the immediate environment for 24 hours.
Then the government owes a lot for, and I thank God that a person of that caliber could identify these faults, but the government we have in this day are folded the hands and looting the country. but the governments of different states owe their citizens of power. And I believe the governments are hearing these discussions, and I believe they hope to do something very good for us. And 2023 also, as we said, is a turning point for the Nigerians to turn up for the better. Thank you.
You're welcome. Via WhatsApp, Bonny Island in River State has uninterrupted 24 hours power supply. Why can't we learn from that project? I mean, if it's possible in Bonny Island, if it's possible in a place within Nigeria, within River State, why can't it be possible or replicated elsewhere? Why not? A House of Rep member representing my constituency once told us that if we have steady power, it's going to make our youth lazy. And I asked how has non-steady power supply made us productive, and to my greatest surprise, he was re-elected and is still there till date, and no power in the entire constituency. All right. Dio, good day. How much is spent on carbon-related ill health due to dysfunctional power supply in the country daily? I can't sleep all night because my neighbors to my left, right, front and back vibrate and deoxygenate me on a daily basis. And that's from Lee. Oh, wow. Hello, Dio. I worked in a bank in Nigeria, and as far back as 2010, the bank was spending billions on generators and fueling. Some staff even got involved in supplying diesel to some branches. Now imagine if those billions were channeled into reducing cost of loan advancement to industries. Would that not greatly reduce cost of borrowing and invariably encourage growth in the real sector? It's just ridiculous how it's so hard to get the smallest things right. That's a mad Paul. Really, it's mind-boggling. Really, it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling, and like it's not nuclear physics. It's not rocket science. It's been done. It can be replicated again if we choose to do it. And that's why you must pay attention. You must critically analyze what people are saying. Forget about structure and being on ground, whatever that means really. What are they saying? What are the issues? We got the news coming on top of the hour at 4 p.m. After that, we're discussing E-Naira in the next hour. Do please stay with us.